Hello book lovers, and welcome back or welcome to Natcat's Bookish Cafe. I am here to start a mini unhaul book shopping slash potentially book haul if I find anything that I want to buy. Mini vlog, I guess you can consider it. Alright guys, so I am long overdue for getting rid of some of my books. I've had them on Pango for a while. I'm gonna go ahead and take them all off there now. So sorry if you had anything in the cart. That is gone now. And I am gonna go ahead and bring them to Half Price Books. Now the closest Half Price Books to me is in Tacoma, because the one that's in Olympia is only an outlet, so you can't sell books there. So we are going to do a little bit of an unhaul. I have a few books that I want to talk about. A lot of them I'm not going to because I already mentioned them in another unhaul. I just haven't gotten around to actually unhauling them. So you can go ahead and check that out, but I will go through the few extra books. They're under my bed right now, that's why I keep pointing here, that I am going to get rid of today. And then we are going to head to Half Price Books and we're going to browse a little bit. I usually have a pretty good look at this Half Price Books. It is a decent size, so I am gonna try and be pretty picky about the books that I end up getting, kind of keeping in mind that goal that I have to read 50% of the books that I purchase. So buying books that I'm like, yeah, I could foresee myself reading them this year. So without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at the books I'm unhauling. I have a couple of Trader Joe bags here. Is 2 gonna be enough? I'm not sure, but let's take a look. Oh, did I put them all out of order? I'm thinking I went ahead and mixed up the order of these, so I don't even know which ones. I think I can remember for the most part which ones I had already done in a haul and which ones I haven't, but maybe I'll just do like a quick go through of all of them. We'll see. So one I know I didn't talk about last time is The Maid. I did enjoy this book, but I listened to it as an audiobook, and I know that I would continue the series on audiobook as well, so there's no reason for me to keep this first book. Another one is The Collective. This is again a book I enjoyed, but it's not one I would reread. And also I believe, yes, I did listen to this one as an audiobook as well. So even though I like these all red covers, there's just no reason for me to go ahead and keep them on my shelves. Then we have If We Were Villains. No, I did not read this book and you just missed it. I bought this book a couple years ago in 2023 when I went to Germany. It was my souvenir book. See, I even wrote that I bought it in Frankfurt, Germany at Hugenbubel bookstore. Hugenbubel. Do I know how to speak German? I certainly do not. So the reason I got rid of this, there's a couple of reasons. One, I never had the biggest interest in this book. My selection in Germany was a little bit limited, and because this was said to have some queerness in it, I was like, sure, I'll give it a try. Dark academia, not like something I'm a huge fan of, and I also recently heard some problematic things about this book, and that has like some racist terminology, and I believe that they said that the queerness in the book is also not very well done. So I figure, considering I'm not that interested in the book and that people, specifically people like of color, are pointing out flaws with this book, I'm just gonna get rid of it. Up next, we have a nonfiction book. This is called Empire of the Summer Moon. This is one of the oldest books on my TBR, and the author is not Indigenous. So I'm not huge into like historical nonfiction, to be honest. And the fact that this isn't actually written by a guy who seems to be indigenous, I figured there's just no reason for me to keep it on my shelves at this point. Next we have Crank by Ellen Hopkins. I can't remember how much I liked this one. I know I loved Identical, but that was one of the 2 books in my entire life that I ever let someone borrow, which is why I don't own it anymore. And I don't own the second book either, which I believe was, what was that called? The Peculiar Children series, Miss Peregrine, Miss something something. Yeah, this is why I don't lend out books, because I never get them back. But that being said, I figure, I know this is one of the ones that gets banned a lot, so I would love for someone else to have the opportunity to read this, because unfortunately kids do drugs and they should learn why it's bad to do them. I originally was gonna save this one from an Unhaul, but then I decided I'm not going to read it again, and also I figured it is a good book for someone else to read who might like the writing style more than I did, because I did think it was a very important story thematic wise. I just did not vibe with the writing whatsoever. All right, so these ones I'm not so sure anymore. My Sister the Serial Killer, did I already talk about this one? I think I did. The Phantom of the Opera, I believe, is pretty new because I just recently read it. I actually got this book from Half Price Books, the one that I'm going to, so I guess she's going back. But I had a decent time reading it. I gave it a 3.5 star, but I just know I'm not going to read it again, and I don't need to keep it on my shelves. This one, I think I might have already talked about in that unhaul. I do like Sierra Simone, but this book, I DNF'd. These 3 I know I already talked about. I'm pretty sure I talked about all of the book of the month books that I'm planning on getting rid of, as well as Upgrade by Blake Crouch. This one I don't think so, because I read this earlier this year. In fact, I believe this was the first book that I read this year. It was a little bit disappointing. Not as good as I was hoping it to be, but still glad that I read it and will gladly pass it on to someone else. These books I think I talked about. Oh, this one I actually need to go ahead and save because one of my book club girlies was interested in that. So let me put that up there. Then did I already talk about The Winter Duke? I DNF'd it. And then we have the Quintesta. I recently heard a couple people talking about this book, but I just didn't really enjoy it. It's a middle grade. The writing just wasn't for me. I think it was a little overly simplistic, which it's a middle grade, but I feel like I've also read middle grades that were like a little bit more intense. These ones, pretty sure I talked about. I think The Haunting of Ashbourne House by Darcy Coates I was originally going to keep, mostly to remind myself that I wanted to try more Darcy Coates. Why am I like, can't say her name. Darcy Coates. This once again is a book that I bought at this Half Price Books and is now being returned to it. I think Watership Down I am deciding to get rid of. I know I'm never going to read it again, and it's not like the most amazing cover or anything. Luminous Dead, did I already talk about this? Well, I don't want to talk about it again because it sucked. And then the last 2, we have Desperate Measures, which I think I talked about because I'm planning on reading the books through the library moving forward. And then this one I don't think I talked about, Firebringer. This is a book that I read as a young person. And we hear from the point of view of this Buck, I guess he's called. And I always like books from the point of view of animals, but I just know I'm never going to read this again. And it's one of those books that I kept around for years because I was like, in case I have kids, but I ain't never having kids, so I don't really gotta keep these books around, and some other kid at that's shopping at Half Price Books can get their hands on it instead. So let's get these into the bag. I believe that is all of them, and we'll see if they fit into 2 bags because I don't want to bring in more than 2 bags.
I'm still in love, but love sucks. Before you and I, what was hers was mine. And I'm sorry, I swear I thought that my heart was ready, but I can't keep her off my mind. And I'm not alright. Had a thought when I was faded, why they call it love when you hate it. I'm still in love with my ex and it's just my luck. Wish I didn't care so much, cause me and her don't make sense and it bugs me up. I'm still in love but love sucks. Love sucks. Love sucks. Let me let you in inside my brain, cause I don't really have the heart to say. Take a look in there, tell me if it's anything you wanna fuck with. Probably not, honestly you'll never take a place. When I look at you I see your face. Yeah, 6 a.m. we're taking shots in the morning up on the counter. Like oh my god, had a thought when I was faded, why they call it love when you hate it. I'm still in love with my ex and it's just my luck. Wish I didn't care so much, cause me and her don't make sense and it bugs me up. I'm still in love but love sucks. Love sucks. And I'm sorry, I swear I thought that my heart was ready, but I can't keep her off my mind. And I'm sorry, you want me, I want her, she don't want me, but I can't keep her off my mind.
Alright guys, we are back home. Did we show restraint? Believe it or not, yes, but we still bought a bunch of books. If I counted correctly, we have 13 books to talk about. You know, there's a reason I only go here like once a year, because every time I go there, I always end up buying a ton of books. I just can't help it. So let's go through those 13 books real quick. Up first, we have an N.K. Jemisin book, The City We Became. This is not the next series I will be reading by N.K. Jemisin. The Dreamblood duology is what I'm planning on reading this year. I'm planning on rereading it, and then I'm planning on reading the Broken Earth trilogy. And they unfortunately did not have the first book in the Broken Earth trilogy because I own the second and third book, but I figured I know I'm gonna read this book someday, and they had a paperback in pretty good condition, so I decided to go ahead and snatch it up anyway. This, I believe, is kind of her, is it like an urban fantasy? And I believe it takes place in New York, and we have different characters that represent different boroughs of the city, and they all have different personalities. And I think there is some sort of overarching evil that is coming in. So I am intrigued by the story, but I won't be getting to it this year. So buying it might not have been the smartest move, but what can I say? Up next, we have Their Vicious Games by Joelle Wellington. This is a book where every single time I see it at Barnes & Noble, I almost buy it because I am really interested in this story. I heard that it's really good. I've heard good things about it from multiple people, and I just have never gotten it. And so when I saw it, obviously at 50% off, I was like, let's go. So this is the book where I believe we have a young Black woman who has been blacklisted from her top choice Ivy League college. So I believe she might get into some sort of fight, or something happened where it kind of cost her that place in her Ivy League. And there seems to be some sort of competition that if you win it, you either get the money that you would need to go to this prestigious school, or you would just earn a place there. And it's apparently quite a deadly game. So I'm very excited to finally check this out. Plus, I think it's a cool cover. It's got like a little shiny to it. All right, I hope I don't seem like I'm going too fast, but my phone did just flash me a warning that its battery is low. And I just want to make sure that it doesn't die while I'm filming this video. So I did buy one nonfiction, and that is going to be How White Feminism Betrays Women of Color by Ruby Hamad. I have mentioned my distaste for white feminism when I spoke about the transgender issue, and I have also read hood feminism. I read that a few years ago, so it is a topic that I am somewhat familiar with, but I have heard good things about this nonfiction, and it is a topic that I am always willing to learn more about, so I went ahead and picked this up. Up next, we have Tripping Arcadia by Kit Mayquist. I hope I say their name right. And this, I believe, is a sapphic story from what I remember. So it seems like we have a college dropout, med school dropout. Yep, so a college dropout, and she is very desperate for money, and so she accepts this kind of suspicious job from a wealthy family, and I believe she acts as the caretaker to their son. Yes, the heir to the family empire. And by night, she discovers a sinister side of the family, and she works at their lavish parties, helping to hide their destructive tendencies. And it seems like she starts to fall for his alluring sister. So I am very intrigued by the story, so I snatched it up. Up next, we have A Road to Ruin by Hannah Lee. This is a book that I recently saw a few people reading, and for the most part, they seem to be having a good time with it. It seems to be kind of a post-apocalyptic sci-fi poly story where we are following a messenger who needs to cross these dangerous wastelands in a way, to deliver letters from a princess to a prince. And she seems to be in love with both the princess and the prince, and somehow the three of them get entangled with each other. So I am intrigued by this and excited to check it out. This book I picked up because I'm 99% sure that someone I follow, and I can't remember the channel's name right now, I'll put her handle right here, mentioned this book. I hope it is this book, because she was kind of talking about like how it's underhyped, and this seems to be a sci-fi story where we are following characters where this robot race is coming for planet Earth, and humans are like, well, we had a good run, you know, it's been good, but I guess we're gonna die now because there's no way we could take these guys on. However, one of our characters seems to be a pianist, and he's like, I'm just gonna play my music. I'm gonna be like those dudes on the Titanic, you know, who just plays until the ship sinks. However, one of the robots actually ends up rescuing them, and I believe a group of people become almost like pilots to some of the robots and maybe start battling with the other robots to try to save humanity. I don't know. It sounds interesting, and I believe it's queer, so I'm like, I'll give it a shot. Up next, we have Sorrowland by River Solomon. I read Rivers Solomon. Sorry, I think I said Rivers Solomon. And I read their story, The Deep, or is it just Deep? I think it's called The Deep. And I didn't love it. However, I was intrigued by their writing and by their themes. And this is actually the story of theirs that I'm more interested in. So I decided to go ahead and pick it up since it was the hardback copy. And this is just such a stunning cover. I believe that in this book we are following a woman who is pregnant with twins, and I think she escapes some sort of cult and gives birth to these kids in the woods and is on the run, and I think her body is like changing in weird ways. I do have a couple of books that involve parenthood and horror aspects by Black authors, so I'm wondering if I kind of want to do a vlog about that. Let me know if you would be interested in that. So happy to have this. Up next, and I was kind of surprised to see like 3 copies of this, we have A Funny Story by Emily Henry. I do love this spine. I was originally gonna wait for the paperback, but I don't know, the spine is so cute, and considering I got it for half price, I was like, why not? I don't know when I'm gonna read this book. Everybody and their mother loves it. Most people weren't super happy with Happy Place, which is the one that I'm stuck on right now. Like, I started reading it and I temporarily DNF'd it, but I am not in a contemporary romance mood. So at first I was like, do I want to even buy this? Because I don't know when I'll be in the mood for contemporary romance again. But at the same time, I just couldn't say no because I know I'm gonna read it someday. And like I said, that spine, I mean, look at it. It's got what, little lemons on it? It's so cute. So this is, if you don't know, I feel like everyone knows this book because it was on so many people's favorite lists. We have 2 characters, and we have our main character, Daphne, and she moves to this new town with her fiance, and then her fiance on his bachelor party ends up confessing his love to his best friend. You know, the girl he was always like, you don't gotta worry about her, we're just friends. And he's like, you gotta move out of the house in like a week because me and my new boo are gonna like move in and we're gonna get married. And honestly, what a jerk. Oh my gosh, like I would slash his tires. Okay, I would like ruin his apartment. I'm like, you're not getting your deposit back on this. Anyway, she ends up moving in with the ex-boyfriend of the girl who stole her man, I guess you could say, because he's also been dumped, and they're like, let's just move in together and just wallow and suffer. But then I think they get invited to their ex's like wedding, and honestly the audacity of these people inviting them is crazy, and they're like, let's pretend to date. So this apparently has Funny Girl vibes. I haven't watched a lot of Funny Girl, but I've watched enough to like kind of know the characters and to know that I would enjoy that vibe. So I am excited for this story. I just don't know when I'll read it, but I will eventually. All right, up next we have House of Marion by J.L. This is a book that I heard Jess on YouTube talking about, and I recently read another recommendation by that YouTuber and loved it, and so I was feeling like I gotta pick up books that they really enjoyed. This is a YA story, but it is by a Black author featuring a young girl who is on the run with her mother. It seems like our girl has got some magical abilities that they're trying to, you know, avoid dealing with. And then they end up getting captured, and she needs to become the debutante of a magical society called the Order. She's hoping that by passing their 3 rites of membership, mastering their proper form of magic, she'll be able to secretly bury her forbidden magic forever. So it sounds like it'll be an interesting time. I am a little nervous since it is a YA, but honestly, Jess was like screaming the praise for this book, and I'm like, why not? Up next, I saw Tia Williams' new book. What's it called? I don't even know what it's called. A love song. Sorry, the word is like covered under stickers. Yes, I bought a book that I don't know the title of. A love song for Ricky Wilde. I have not heard as good of things about this book as her 7 Days in June book, which I absolutely loved, but I have heard some people saying that this romance is more targeted towards a Black audience, and so that's why the white audience hasn't been having as good a time with it. So I'm hoping that knowing that it's gonna have a different vibe will prepare me. And also, I personally, as someone who just read a book that was definitely made for a Black audience, don't have a problem with Black authors writing for Black people, because that's just how it should be. Now, what is this book about? Good question. I just love the author. So I kind of thought this had like a magical realism aspect to it, or am I hallucinating? I'm gonna be honest, I have no idea what this book is about. I read that synopsis and I'm like, ugh. We have a girl, I think she's part of a well-known family, but she has no interest in being part of their dynasty. She just wants to own a flower shop, and then she meets a guy. It says it is a modern fairy tale of two passionate artists drawn to the magic and romance of New York, whose lives are irreversibly linked. So I don't really know what to expect going into here, but I know Tia Williams knows how to write a romance, how to write characters, and just write, period. So 3 more books to go, and I am a little bit sweaty, so I'm looking forward to getting out of this. It is definitely a little bit warmer today. With that being said, I got You Made a Fool Out of Death with Your Beauty by Akwaeke Emezi. I am planning on reading all of their works, so I decided to go ahead and pick up this one since this was the book there that I had not already read. This is their romance story, and I think it's probably one of their most popular books just because it is more romance leaning. And I believe we were following a woman whose husband had died a few years ago, 5 years ago, and she is still mourning his death, and she ends up dating this guy, and he ends up taking her home, and then she ends up like falling for his dad or something. So I'm excited to check it out. I love Akwaeke Emezi's writing and am definitely interested in checking out everything they have to offer. I feel like I mentioned earlier that I only bought one nonfiction. That's a lie. I bought 2. And the other one is Black Earth Wisdom, Soulful Conversations with Black Environmentalists. This cover really attracted me to it. I do have this book already on my TBR, so it is already a book that I was interested in reading. I'm not 100% sure what to expect from this book, but I do enjoy discussions about the environment. It says, while racial capitalism has attempted to sever our connection to the sacred earth for 400 years, Black people have long seen the land and water as family, treating the earth as a home essential. So I'm looking forward to it. It says this book makes clear the fight for racial and environmental justice demands that people put their planet first and defer to nature as our teacher. So I'm excited to check it out. Like I said, stunning cover. And the final book, we have All the Sinners Bleed by S.A. Cosby. I've been knowing for a while that I want to read another S.A. Cosby. He's the author of Razor Blade Tears, which I enjoyed for the most part. There were certainly aspects of the story that I wish had been fleshed out a little bit more, but I do know that he's an author I want to check out again. I believe this is his newer release, because I feel like I've been seeing it around quite a bit. Yeah, it just came out in 2023, so a couple years ago, but you know, it's newer. So I believe this follows a Black sheriff who is the first sheriff in this town, and there is a serial killer on the loose. Considering this is like a thriller situation, I don't want to know too much going into it, but I have seen people enjoying this book and enjoying S.A. Cosby in general, so happy to have it on my shelf. All right, guys, so those are all the books that I have unhauled and all of the books that I have brought back into my house. I am looking at my TBR shelves and I'm just like, I don't have room for these. So we're gonna just have to stack them in the corner, and I'm gonna deal with them another time because I don't feel like dealing with them tonight. But that being said, I would love to know, what is your favorite bookstore to shop at? At what bookstore can you just not resist buying at least one book when you enter it? And as always, guys, thank you so much for supporting my channel by watching my videos, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.